everyone, welcome back, or welcome if you're new to the channel. Today's video is going to be my January reading wrap up. January I read a total of 5 books, so 4 physical and 1 audio book. So I think that's quite a good month for me. Yeah, I'm kind of hitting that book a week target, which is really good. But yeah, if I don't hit that, then that's fine. Hope you guys are well, hope you're all doing well, and yeah, finally made it out of January, so that's positive. Yeah, I just felt like it's kind of was going for ages, wasn't it? My January has been okay, been quite good. Like, obviously been reading, but I've been doing a lot of gaming as well. I've been playing Animal Crossing a little bit. A lot of my villagers have been angry at me because I haven't played it for months, so obviously my hair was all a mess in the game and had my cockroaches in my house and all that, and the villagers were angry with me and moan at me because I've been ignoring them, but they don't realise we have a real life outside the game. And then also I've just completed a game. I'm sure everyone, whoever's into games will heard of this game, but it's called Life is Strange. And I started playing this in 2022 actually. It's when I saw Life is Strange, the first episode is on the Xbox, and I was like, oh, I think I'd heard of the game and I knew the recent one had just come out in 2021. So I was like, oh, let's see what it's about. And I just thought it was this really calm game. But the game, wow. That game is phenomenal. Definitely one of the best games I've ever played. And I've played a lot of games. I'm not a huge gamer. That game is phenomenal. It's like an adventure game, but it's almost like a TV show. Like, so much drama, so much trauma. Oh, and the soundtrack is amazing. If you haven't played it and you like adventure games where you get to like choose the outcome, and whatever you choose, like, there's always got like consequences, you have to play it. But anyway, if you've played it, let me know if you played it, and let me know which game you think I should play next, because I'm either debating to play Life is Strange 2, which I know is about the 2 brothers, or I know there's now a prequel to Life is Strange, it's called Before the Storm. I don't know whether to play that one next, because I kind of want to know what happens before, and I'm obviously obsessed with Max and Chloe. So yeah, anyway, this isn't about games, it's about books. I'll make sure to put chapters just in case anyone wants to skip this intro bit. But anyways, yes, so put my laptop down. Yes, anyways, like I said, I have read a total of 5 books, 4 physical, all with the pink theme, and 1 audiobook. Okay, so the first book I read, I started out with a bang. So I read Sugar Baby by Celine St. Clair. Okay, this book, I flew through this book. I loved it and I gave it 5 stars. Couldn't put it down. I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, like I said, this book, you guessed it, it's about sugar babies. Like, you know, how they use their beauty and their lifestyle to entice men to, I guess, part ways with their money to like fund this luxurious lifestyle that they want to perceive. Yeah, it really explores like the male gaze, like how women like leaning into like hyper femininity, and, you know, leaning into that to attract these super wealthy men to fund this lifestyle, just like I said. So we follow 21-year-old Agnes, who is mixed race. Her mum is from St. Vincent. She's in a really super strict religious household, single parent household, with her sister. Agnes works as a cleaner with her mum. I think they either have their own company or they work for part of the company. We follow her. She's just finished her A-levels, and she's, oh, that's strange. She's just finished her A-levels, but she's 21. I think we know she fails her A-levels, and yeah, so then she joined her mum as a cleaner, and then yeah, she's kind of feeling really stuck, really lost. And this is where she is now introduced into one of the clients' daughters. So one of the clients, the houses that they clean really like in a very affluent, rich area. So she's introduced to one of the daughters of her clients, who is a sugar baby. She doesn't know this, but they kind of get talking. I apologise. I said in my books I'm going to be reading in 2024 that they met in a club. I was completely wrong. They meet when she's cleaning her house. Yeah, so she meets the daughter, and then she slowly kind of entices her to come into the sugar baby world, and her world just is completely rocked from there. I literally couldn't put it down. The writing is very light, but there is a lot of depth to it as well, which made it very easy to read. It was probably, the writing style is probably similar to Candice Carty-Williams, so just quite easy, flows really well. Yeah, I was reading like 100-ish pages a day. I absolutely loved it. It was fast-paced, it was just so good, but it was gritty, it was intense, it was dark at times, and it was humorous, harrowing, quite poignant. Yeah, this book it covers like friendships, like close friendships, especially like female friendships, extreme like religious views, mental health, explores sexuality as well, like insecurities within men and things like that. So yeah, you're really getting a mixed bag. This is so good. And yeah, you really go on a journey with Agnes. It's quite a coming of age story, and like the character development is mad. So yeah, highly recommend it. It was a romp. It was good. It was really good. And I haven't read Insatiable yet by Daisy Buchanan, but I've seen people have said that this is what Insatiable should have been. So I'm a little nervous to read Insatiable now, but I'm still going to read it anyway. But yeah, I can't recommend this enough. It's so good. So the next book I read was YELLOWFACE by R.F. Kuang. And I went on a bit of a journey with this book. Initially, oh my gosh, I hated it, and I DNF'd it because I was like, I just can't do this to myself. Oh, so I listened to this book. I don't know if I said that. I was like, I can't do this to myself. This is awful. This book has had so much hype, you know, been on the bestsellers list and stuff like that, but I think sometimes that doesn't mean jack. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just put here in my notes, I'm really unsure why this won Book of the Year, etc. by so many establishments. It was okay. And yeah, like, so basically I did finish it because curiosity got the better of me, and I gave it 3 stars. I thought that was quite reasonable, to be honest, so I gave it 3. If you don't know what it's about an author who's God, what was her name? I didn't even write her name down. I can't remember her name now. Oh, Juniper Song, but I can't remember her. That was like her author name, but I can't remember her real name. Yeah, so she's kind of down on her luck. She's not really getting any book deals. She's just really struggling, having a hard time with it. And one of her close friends, I can't even remember her name now. It's just been wiped from my memory. She is doing really well in the publishing world, in the writing world. She's had a lot of books published. She's had a lot of success with them. They've turned into like Netflix deals, things like that. So she's doing really well. Yeah, this isn't spoiling, this is really early on. Something tragic happens to the successful author, her friend, and the main character, Juniper, she steals the manuscript that the author was working on. No one has seen it, and then she submits it, and through as her own work, plagiarism, whatever you want to call it, and she gets all the success from it. So but the thing is, the book is about oh god, what's it about? I think it's about like Chinese history and things like that. So the book is about it's a novel about Chinese labourers on the Western Front in the First World War. So I completely forgot that, but yeah, that's what it's about. The main character, the protagonist, is white, so it's kind of a little weird because she's kind of like profiting off history, which kind of doesn't belong to her and things like that. So it's very clever, and I think that's why I bumped the stars up, because I do like the message behind it. But I thought the character was so annoying. Oh my gosh. And I listened to it on audio and it was even worse. Like, I really didn't like the narration. And I just thought all the characters were so selfish and so, yeah, I just didn't like it at all. So, yeah, like I said, 3 stars is quite reasonable, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best book I read. It was okay. It was all right, but I can see why people love it. I think it's, for me, it was a little too realistic about like the publishing world, and it was all, you know, talking about Goodreads and things like that. It was a little too realistic, and I think, like, for me, I do kind of like to escape a little bit and to kind of read about things which I'm not I don't know, I like to be educated a little bit on books and read. I don't know, it just felt a little bit too real in a way. So I think that's kind of why I didn't really enjoy the plot. You can tell from my brain, I just completely deleted it from my memory. So yeah, read Yellowface, 3 stars. So the next book I read was Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. I ate this book up. I gave this 5 stars. I thought this was phenomenal, and I think this is probably one of the best books I've read this year, obviously because we're in January, but it's definitely up there as I think it's up there with one of my top books I've read of all time. I loved it. I loved it. And I read the acknowledgements at the back, and the author said this took her 7 years to create, and I can see why. Oh my gosh, the dedication, the depth of this story. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Briefly, I'll just explain what this is about. So we follow a few different characters, but the main character we follow is Cleo. She is quite young. She's like, early to mid 20s, and she's a student, I think at an art school or uni in New York. She's originally from the UK. She's like really skinned, and she's just kind of struggling, going through a lot of problems. And she meets Frank. He's like really successful. He's 20 years her senior, so there's a bit of an age gap romance. And basically this isn't spoiling it because this is in the blurb, they go and get married so she can get her citizenship. I didn't know what to expect from this book. I just thought, oh, it's going to be about their relationship, blah, blah, which it is, but it's so much more than that. So much more. What have I put here? I said I love the prose and the narrative, the writing. It's incredibly poignant, and I said this book has depth, baby. It has depth. So I said it explores friendship, sexuality, gender, like newfound family. When people move to a different city and obviously they don't have their family around, so they create their own family with their friends. I love that this really explores that. I thought it was so funny. I don't usually laugh at books, like, in the recommendations, they're like, oh, it's so funny. I don't really, I'm like, what are they talking about? And I laugh at a lot of things, but I did find there was a lot really good humour in this. Good banter, lots of many different cultures, which I really appreciated. Obviously it's set in New York, so it's a big melting pot for that. So I said it's very gritty, blunt, highlights so many different themes: loneliness in our 20s, mental health, mental illness, dysfunctional families. I said Cleo's parents really reminded me of the parent dynamic in Fleabag, with her dad and her stepmom. The stepmom is played by Olivia Colman, how she doesn't really get on with her. Oh, it's just so good. This is just multi-layered, multifaceted. It just takes you on a journey of different perspectives. There's a lot of dark themes, so do, maybe if you're a bit sensitive, check the trigger warnings. I don't really tend to bother check the trigger warnings. I'll just be like, if I get traumatized, whatever. But this was absolutely sensational. I ended up buying this for my friend. I didn't realise this was actually on her TBR as well, so I bought this for her birthday, and she was like, oh, amazing. So I can't wait till when she reads this. As you can tell, I left a lot of notes. There was just so many things. There's a lot of characters which I don't particularly like in books, but it was easy to follow in this one. So it was really, really good. I highly recommend it. If you like books like that, it explores different people's lives and really goes into depth with it, then you'll love this. I know someone said in my comments as well about if I don't want to read Little Life, this is probably a little bit more tame, and I thought this was fine. I mean, I'm sure Little Life is probably way worse than this, but in terms of the trauma of the book, I thought this was fine. There was some dark bits, but it was okay for me. But it was fantastic. And I know she has a new book coming out called Blue Sisters, I think, which is about explores the lives of four sisters as I think they've lost a sister. And I'm going to be pre-ordering that because I will read anything that Coco Mellors writes. Phenomenal. And the 5 stars just continue. So I read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I heard Angela from Auntie Angela talking about this book, and because I had seen it like floating around and I'd seen it on World of Books and things like that, because it's quite a cheap book now, like I think it's quite popular, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I wasn't sure what it was about, but I heard her talking about it and I was like, oh yeah, like I love bands, like I love music, I love hearing about like behind the scenes, like on tour and things like that. So I thought, yeah, I'm gonna give this a go. I loved this book. Again, this is probably going to be on one of like my top books of the year, maybe top books of all time. I loved it. I listened to it and read it. I could not recommend that enough. It was such a good experience. Again, there's loads of characters in this book, but I think when you listen to it and once you get into the story, you do like get to know, it's just so good. And also the soundtrack I listened to, which was so good. I haven't watched the TV show yet, so I don't have Amazon Prime anymore, but if I do, and when I do get it, I'm definitely going to watch the TV show, because I think I'll really enjoy it. So if you don't know what this is about, so we initially follow Daisy, who's coming of age in the 60s, and she's just a really natural, go against the grain, rebel type of girl, like really rock and roll, just a really cool like girl, but she has a lot of problems, I'd say. And then shortly after, we follow Billy Dunn, who is part of the band The Six, and eventually they cross paths and then their entire journey begins. I don't really want to delve too much more into that, but yeah, it's just so good. So I said here, I was initially hooked from the first chapter. So it's written so well, it's incredibly captivating and bold. It's written like documentary style, so it's quite realistic, and even though that goes against what I just said about YELLOWFACE, how it was too realistic, I didn't think this was. Yes, it was realistic in terms of like, I feel like this is quite probably this was probably popular back the bands in the 70s, and how it was quite tumultuous, and I really loved it. I just loved it anyway. I said this is perfect for music fans, specifically if you're into like bands and things like that. Yeah, I thought the plot was great. It's full of drama. I just loved it. I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't put it down. I even ran out of because I listen to my audiobooks on Spotify, and I even ran out of minutes, so I had to purchase more minutes just so I could finish the book. And I know that's stupid, because I could have just finished it, like actually physically read it, but I really just fell in love with like the characters and the narration was amazing. It was like a blooming podcast. It was so good. There's some dark themes covered, like addiction. I really commend Taylor Jenkins Reid for her ability to write the characters. Oh, it was just so good. I cannot recommend this book enough. It was amazing. It was really good, and it's made me want to read more of Taylor Jenkins Reid now. I've heard Carrie Soto's back. I've heard that's really good as well, and obviously the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I've also got After I Do as well, so I'll definitely be reading more from her in the future. Yeah, I thought this was just hyped up, but the hype is certainly real. It was really good, so I highly recommend. And then the last book I read in January was Twilight by Stephanie Myers, and this was down to the fact that I have new Twilight covers, which I mentioned in my previous video. They came and I was just obsessed, so I was like, let's reread Twilight. And I think I made a mistake. I think I really made a mistake. I did give this 3.5 stars, so middle of the road-ish. I probably gave it that 0.5 star just because of the inner child in me, which just loves, I heard something. The inner child in me that just loves Twilight and will just always love it. As I was reading this, it was kind of, actually, I'm going to put in a clip. What the hell is that? Oh, I'm going to put in a clip of me. I just filmed myself. I think I filmed myself once when I was halfway through the book reading it, just so you can kind of hear my thoughts. Apologies if you can hear any noise. I think my neighbours have been doing lots of work lately. Yeah, anyway. Hello. So I'm currently reading Twilight, and I haven't read this in like well over a decade. Well, I'm just not feeling it, you know, like I am about halfway. I never realised how, it's not bad, but I mean, I do remember how annoying Bella was, and just how like she's quite
not needy, because she's fair, she's actually quite independent. She's just obsessed with Edward, which I mean, I guess is that normal for a teenager to be? I mean, I'm trying to think back to her age when I was 17. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, aside from that, I think it's okay, but I really just think like I must just fed into the huge phenomena of this, because I guess nothing else was around in that time, and the world and the internet was such a smaller place, and I feel like there were like this was quite niche, and I feel like there wasn't like huge, like, you know what I mean, there wasn't like loads of things to obsess about. Yeah, I don't know, I'm reading it now and I'm just like, I'm not really enjoying it, and I feel like it's kind of a mistake to reread it again. I should have just kept it as like, you know, that's like my 14-year-old self, and just let me have those memories, and just let me like, just, you know what I mean, just let me think to myself that yeah, I really enjoy this book, because I'm rereading it and I'm kind of like, this is not as good as I thought it was. And also I've watched the films so many times, so I just keep thinking about the films, and obviously when I read this, the films weren't made yet, so I had all the characters in my head and things like that. It's very fascinating, weird as well, that I do remember reading this as well. Some chapters, not everything, but I do actually remember, like, there was some lines in here I was like, oh yeah, I remember reading that, which is, I think that's, I guess, a testament to my long-term memory, which I think my long-term memory is actually quite good. It's just my short-term memory is not the best. Yeah, I don't know if it was a bit of a mistake. I think I'm still gonna carry on and read the saga, read the series anyway, but I think I'm just like initial thoughts on, well, halfway thoughts, I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I'm really enjoying it. It seems like a bit of a chore to pick it up, but yeah, anyway, I'm gonna continue anyway. I do want to try and finish it. It's the 27th of January, so I don't want to try and finish it before the end of the month, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I'm on page 228, so I think I've got like another 150 pages left. And I started this about a week ago, so I probably would have finished it already, but never mind. I don't know if I've kind of ruined it for myself, but I don't know. Maybe just, obviously my reading palette and my tastes have changed and matured, which I guess I'm glad that they have, because I'd be a bit concerned if I still had the same mind as my 14-year-old self, or 15. I can't remember how old I was. I think I was 14. That's just my thoughts.
Initially, so as my thoughts, I said it was really hard to not think about the characters in the film, because I've watched the films so many times, like have them on DVD, things like that, and I love the films. But when I did obviously initially read the books, I loved the books and I thought the films were trash, and then now I've reread this, I now think the books are good and the films are not great, because the books just have so much more depth to them. It was, I forgot all about like all of like Jasper's past, and like, oh, it's not really, I mean, it's briefly mentioned, but I think throughout the books we kind of get to know more of their past. So like Jasper's past and Rosalie's past and Esme's past and how they all became vampires, I completely forgot. And then just, yeah, about like, oh, we don't know about the Volturi yet and things like that. So, and just how young like Jacob was. Like I didn't realise he was 14 and it's meant to be 14 in the first book. So it's kind of a little bit wild that Bella was kind of flirting with a 14-year-old at 17. So yeah, anyways, yeah, you don't know what this book is about, I'll briefly go over it, but this book is about, we follow Bella, who she originally lives in Phoenix with her mum, but she moves to Forks, which is in Washington, which is just a very cloudy, dark town and very small population, to live with her dad, Charlie. And she's kind of like, yeah, obviously the new kid in town. And then she obviously comes across Edward, who she finds him a little strange, and then she finds out he's a vampire, and then they fall in love, essentially. I never realised how Like, I know I'm dreading reading New Moon because I know how insufferable Bear is in that one. But I never realised how, like, how... I wouldn't say she's needy. I think she's quite independent, actually. Like, I hate how she always cooks for Charlie and her dad. And, it's just... I don't really like that. And just, like, how... she's very infatuated by Edward and she's like in love with him after like 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I was trying to think not about the film, but just really concentrate on the actual story. And that's what I gave 3.5 stars. I thought the story was okay. It didn't like grip me or anything, but I think because I already know what's happening, it kind of fell a bit flat. But yeah, I still enjoyed it anyway. And yeah, so I gave it 3.5 stars. So yeah, that is my reading wrap up for January. Let me know if any of these books sound good, juicy, or whatever. But like I said, I had a fantastic reading month. Like 3 out of 5 books, 3 of them are 5-star, which is amazing. So good. So obviously just means I am picking the right books, which is good. So and you guys are recommending so many amazing books to me. I know how many you guys recommended Daisy Jones and the Six and to listen to it as well, which I'm so glad I did because it was just a different experience. Yeah, let me know what you guys read for January, and yeah, just let me know how you guys are in general, how are you all doing, yeah, I'll speak to you in the next video.